OK, now let's get more on Rishi Sunak's decision to leave a D-Day ceremony early to do a TV interview. And I'm joined by the former NATO commander, Rear Admiral Chris Parry. Welcome to the show, Chris. Always a delight. You may have heard us in the studio here. Absolutely astonished. We cannot get our heads around it. We're not servicemen. We're not military veteran. You are. What's your take?
Well, to tell you the truth, as a veteran, as a serviceman, I'm used to going to sort of events like this. As a veteran, I'm not fussed about it. If the Prime Minister doesn't feel he needs to be there, then he doesn't need to be there. What I do worry about is I expect my Prime Minister to represent this country at international level, just like the England football captain does, when there are other international personages around. The fact of life is, if you leave a big meeting like this, where you've got the President of the United States, President of France, and others there, what are you saying in terms of respect to them? The other thing is the optics are dreadful, and it just reinforces to me the idea that the people who are advising the Prime Minister at number 10, who are already at the moment under suspicion for leading him up the garden path, have done it yet again.
Chris, I'm in the studio here. Christopher Hope here with Martin today. Who do you felt looked more prime ministerial yesterday, Keir Starmer or Rishi Sunak?
Yeah, it's a really good question. On this issue, I'm afraid both of them are using the situation, one to try and get out of a scrape, the other one to exploit it. There is absolutely no way you can't politicise this, because we're talking about the two most important people in our political system. But to tell you the truth, I don't think either of them do. As a military officer, I am not convinced by the sort of leadership I would get from either of them.
That's interesting. And finally, Chris, before you go, I've got a few veteran pals who've been sending me their thoughts on this. Some of them are printable. I'll tell you a few of the words they were using. They were using words like outrageous, disrespectful and disgusting. Knowing what you know about the mindset of veterans, do you think this will make them more or less likely or unchanged to vote for the Conservative Party?
Veterans have got a mind of their own. I think there's been a lot of hysteria over this. The Prime Minister's made a mistake. It's as simple as that. It's a political mistake. I think, you've spoken about a Ratner moment or Gillian moment. At the end of the day, these things happen. I don't expect somebody so senior, though, to be tripped up by something so obvious. That's my point. A lot of veterans will say, look, we respect the dead of 80 years ago. We respect the people who actually contributed. We remember all the people we've served with who have made that sacrifice. What I'm disappointed by is that none of our senior politicians have said, look, this is the level of sacrifice you have to make if you get deterrence wrong against totalitarian powers. And that is very relevant for today when we're faced by Russia, China, Iran and the others. That's what I'm hearing from what I would call the more discerning veterans. The fact the Prime Minister bunks off to do a TV interview, frankly, is something that will be forgotten by July the 5th.
OK. Thank you very much. Very diplomatically put, in fact, more politically put than perhaps the Prime Minister would have done himself. Thank you very much for joining us, former NATO Commander, Rear Admiral Chris Parry.